the song, never gonna do the same for you.
What's up, guys? It's Donna here.
And Holly.
And you're listening to Teaser Talk.
On switch, turn the song, never gonna do the same. You hit the on switch, turn the song, never gonna do the same for you. With these power lights.
What's going on, everyone? I am here with Roger from Less Than Jake. Welcome, Roger.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Super excited to chat with you. You guys have had a busy year. I know you guys have been playing with like NoFX in like Germany, Warped Tour, Riot Fest. I personally caught you guys in Oklahoma City with Bowling for Soup. Just a lot of craziness going on. So how's it been for you guys this year playing?
It's definitely been awesome. It's been a pretty busy year, and we got to do a lot of fun stuff. I mean, we went to Europe or the UK 3 times this year, which is like crazy. So it just feels like a work year where we're just out on the road a good amount. And yeah, now it's time to kind of like hibernate, work on some new songs, and then do it all over again next year.
That's awesome. Now, from what I remember, when you guys were in Oklahoma City, that was your first time playing there, right?
Yeah, for some reason, every time we've been in Oklahoma, we've always played in Tulsa. Just for whatever reason, that's just how it's always worked out. And that was the first time that we actually played in OK City.
What'd you guys think of it?
I thought it was great. That was good. We always, I don't know what it is about us and the Bowling for Soup guys, but our crowds seem to want to have the same kind of fun or something. And the crowds are just always fun. And that was a great time. That whole tour was fantastic.
That's awesome. So out of all the craziness of touring from, like you said, UK to just within the States, what's been your favorite gig to play so far?
Ooh, man, that's a tough one. There's been what I feel like a lot of like sort of special occasions this year. We just have been kind of lucky in it and been included in some awesome stuff. Playing the anniversary Warped Tour shows this year, there was one in New Jersey and then another one in Southern California. I mean, both of those were like epic. Like it was just awesome to see everyone from the Warped Tour production and all the bands and everybody, and so many people showed up. Like the one in New Jersey was like 30,000 people or something. It was nuts. And that just felt like a really cool thing that, you know, we were hugely involved in Warped Tour. We played more Warped Tours than any other band, and it was just like feels like a part of my life, you know. So it was just awesome to be there for that kind of like big last couple parties, sort of. So that was really high on my list this year. Riot Fest was amazing this year. It was one of my favorite years because we've done it a lot of times, but before it was like a big outdoor festival. So this time it was just like a sea of people, and it was just great. And notably as well, we did a bunch of shows with NoFX in Europe, and then we did a couple shows with them in the UK, and there's one particular festival that was called the Beautiful Days Festival, and it was just, the vibe was just insane, and the crowd was amazing, and we played right before NoFX, and it was just one of the best nights of the year. It was just super fun.
What I love to see is like a lot of those guys that you just had mentioned is they really stay true to like their form as well as you guys. So I'm curious, as a performer, you've been doing this for, I mean, years and years. What have you seen much of what's been different or what's grown from like back in the day doing Warped Tour to like now?
I mean, honestly, the craziest thing is just the way that the internet has sort of transformed the music industry and, you know, changed a lot about the way people consume music and how they kind of like live on their Spotify playlist as opposed to people that used to buy CDs and burn CDs and all that. I mean, that's like the most drastic, like that thing that really feels different. You know, people just kind of consume music differently. Used to be like more about like a whole album, and people would get it and look at the picture and listen to all the songs and learn all the words and like stare at the lyric sheet and like kind of get in their headphones and just get away from the world for hours. Now everything's kind of like in a singles kind of based thing, and it's just kind of like playlists and kind of like, oh, I'm just going to hear that one song and maybe I'll buy that one song, but nobody really even does that anymore. I don't know. I guess that side of the technology side of the way people absorb music has really changed. But out on the road, I feel like it's strangely not really that different. I mean, you know, bands are trying to make it happen out there. They're playing shows and they're, you know, doing their best and trying to convert fans and make new fans. And we're still out there doing the same thing, trying to, you know, play for different people and continue to like spread the word or get people to check out our songs. So that weirdly feels like the same vibe.
Yeah, it is. And I can relate because, like, being as a fan in the music scene, like even from 13, 14, the way we discovered music was we would go to, there's a local place called the Brick House in West Virginia. And we would go there and attend all these random, anything from pop punk to, just punk to hardcore to whatever. But we would go there every weekend. That's how we discovered music. We discovered music through the live music scene. And it's kind of weird. I'm with you. It's like, it's a weird way to discover music without attending live events, me personally. And I've kind of struggled with that. That's why I feel like I'm stuck in the same playlist that I listened to back in 2004, 2005.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I do that too. It's okay. But, I think that in some places, in some pockets, there's like a scene and people are like kind of active about, like you're saying, just going out to the same club or bar every weekend, just regardless of kind of what band is playing, but just to kind of like check out local music or, just kind of check out something that maybe nobody else has discovered. I think that still kind of goes on in certain scenes. Like Gainesville definitely still sort of feels like that way. There's smaller bands and smaller clubs and people trying to make it happen and people show up for that stuff.
That's awesome. And I know like Warped Tour, I feel like that was like the biggest audition for any band that was lucky enough to make it on that stage. Is like if they made that first impression or they won that crowd, then I really feel like those people are so loyal, like they just came back every year for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, bands showed up. I mean, honestly, bands showed up and like owned the Warped Tour and made it work for them and just put on amazing shows, and they stood in the lines and they, got people to check out their band, and they went to the merch table and they signed stuff for hours. And like, I have a huge respect for bands that, really built themselves up on the Warped Tour. Like a band like Day to Remember is the band that comes to mind, where like they just did the Warped Tour a couple times and before you knew it, they just owned the Warped Tour. Like they were huge, So it's awesome. The Warped Tour was an awesome way to not just meet a bunch of bands of different genres and make a lot of different kind of friends, but just like as a concert goer to go there and like just check out a whole bunch of different stuff. And it's like an amusement park. It was so fun. I think anybody that like will grow up in a time where the Warped Tour doesn't exist, like they kind of missed out. That was like a pretty rad thing that happened for a long time,
It wasn't. It's fascinating because it's almost like a city built in a day. It's crazy to see to think about like all the logistics and everything. And like you said, for those unfortunately who have never got to experience it, it was definitely a big event. It wasn't just a, music concert, whatever. It was it's a community too. And it built around that community vibe too, as well.
Absolutely. Good times.
Very
good
cool.
times.
Yeah, for sure. So what's interesting with you guys too is I feel like your energy, and I know I'm not the very first person to tell you this, but you guys play with an intense amount of energy. It's fun. It's awesome. But I was thinking too, I'm like yawning watching you guys because I was like so tired, and you guys are jumping up on stage, killing it. What's your secret to that? What's your secret to all this energy that you guys have?
I think that ultimately, we're excited to play our song. We love our songs, right? Like it's the best part of the day when we get to play our songs. And it's like earlier in the day when there's the sound check, right? We're playing the same song on stage and there's nobody there and we're playing it fine. It sounds fine. And there's checking the sound and all that, but there's not that energy transfer because there's no crowd. When the show is going on, like I always think it's amazing when I see bands and people aren't like acting like they're super stoked on the moment or whatever, because that's like the funnest part of my day every day is getting to play and like getting to jump around and get people excited and see the crowd reacting and the energy transfer that goes on between the crowd and the band. I mean, that's like, I love music and all that stuff, but I think that's why I do music, is because the live like experience, like playing a live show, it's like the best drug in the world. It's hard to explain.
That's awesome. I will say, like that particular day, I had I traveled, and then I had a workshop I had put on, and then it was the concert at night. So I was like, in between set lists, I was like, man, I'm getting tired. As soon as you guys came on, the intense amount of energy, like it definitely translates into the crowd, because I was like, like I'm thinking, like, am I gonna make it? And then at the end of the night, I'm just like pumped and jacked. It was a great time.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks. I mean, we definitely have always tried to, play well and play with intensity and get the crowd involved and make the show unique and, not really have very much sort of rehearsed sort of chatter or anything like that. It's all, everything's kind of off the cuff, and we like to involve the crowd and have a good time.
You guys did that just well. I know, like, my favorite part of like the whole stage setup, I think, was the waving inflatable man that you guys had brought up on stage. I think that was my personal favorite.
Well, thank you.
So
I can't take credit for those. They're cool though.
Yeah, they did you guys did your people did a great job on the stage itself. It's fun times.
Thank you.
So let's talk about you as a musician. What really got you into music?
Well, I've been around music my whole life. I just kind of grew up in the music world. You know, my mom was like a big fan of a lot of music, and I just grew up listening to a lot of music. And my uncle was in a band when I was like a little kid, so he was a drummer. So I kind of grew up with a drummer and a drum set in the house and all that. And you know, I was like maybe 8 years old when I started messing around playing drums. And then you know, my mom made me take piano lessons, so I took piano lessons for a good 5 years. And I sang in church a lot, and I always was in the choir in school and stuff like that. And then I played the viola in the school orchestra when I was in junior high and high school. That was like my high school instrument was the viola. And when I was like before I was a senior in high school, I bought an electric guitar, and then I just started teaching myself how to play guitar. And yeah, it's just kind of like, I just always was around music. I was always encouraged by my mom and my sister. My sister actually is the one that played bass when we were growing up. I was a guitar player, and she played bass. And yeah, it just kind of kept, you know, I had a band in high school, and then I moved to Gainesville to go to school for college here. And that's how I got in. I met Chris, and we started, you know, doing the Less Than Jake thing.
So there's a lot right now that you just said that I really want to dive into. So anything from the viola to guitar to drums, I guess a better question would be, what do you not play?
I don't play any woodwinds or any brass. I don't play any horns. That stuff is beyond me. But I did grow up anything like percussive, like drums or piano or guitar, anything that you would like strike, I like. So yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome to see. It was really kind of like molded into like your habits and like your day. Like that was just normal for you to be. So it makes sense. Or I guess what I'm saying is like, it's not a surprise you're in a band right now, because from 8 years old, you were doing this stuff.
I guess not. I mean, I was really lucky though. I mean, my uncle was like, his band had like a recording deal thing, and they would like, I got to be in a studio when I was like 10 years old, and I just thought it was amazing, you know? Mm-hmm. And even like my stepdad happened to like really enjoy singing, and he took vocal lessons, and he kind of like shared some of that knowledge, and we would like sing like driving in the car and stuff like that. And so I had like a little bit of like, you know, vocal coaching, I guess I would say. So it just all kind of snowballed. And then, you know, I was really into like school, and I really liked going to school. I was really into chemistry and physics, and I wanted to like be a chemical engineer. And I went to school for chemical engineering, but you know, it was a lot easier to like play shows and get free beers. And
it's a little bit more of a glamorous lifestyle.
Yeah, it was a little easier.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you go to college, you meet Chris, which is like, I want to talk on this for sure, because it's interesting. You go back with Less Than Jake all the way to college days, but you weren't like a founding member. Is that correct?
Well, the band existed. Chris and Vinny had played some shows as Less Than Jake with another bass player, but they didn't have any horns or anything. It was just like a pop punk thing. And they maybe played like, I don't know, 10 or 12 shows in 92. And then and then I met Chris through a mutual friend, and they had kind of said, hey, well, you know, I play guitar. Oh, that's cool. Well, you should come play guitar. So I had gone out there and like jammed with those guys as a guitar player, and I was just kind of, the bass player wasn't there, and I was just kind of doing my thing and playing guitar and noodling around and whatever, just, you know, playing their few songs that they had or whatever. And then they were the ones that were like, hey, you know, you should get a bass, and we'll just like get rid of our bass player. And I was like, okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then it just kind of, you know, we didn't really play for a while. We just kind of like practiced, and we wrote a lot of songs. Then we kind of got the whole like ska horn thing sort of involved. And and then, you know, played my first show with the band like in 93. So I'm not a quote unquote founding member, but I've been there the entire time that it's, you know, the band's been really doing stuff.
But I mean, for sure. So like you have, when you say not a founding member, you definitely have a bigger advantage than most people who come into a band that's already been established. So you've really went from the journey of playing like college gigs to world tours. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the band was not, the band at that point, I mean, I had seen the band play like at a local show, like opening for a regional band and that kind of thing. But like I said, it's like the Gainesville scene of like a lot of bands, a lot of, people in a lot of different bands, and it kind of spreads around. And yeah, it's kind of crazy, but yeah, totally. I got in at a good time. I mean, I don't know, what it would have been like if I never got involved. It was like once I got involved, things started picking up a little bit. We started up in the ante, and it was cool. Things started picking up.
That's cool. So what advice would you give to those college guys in the scene right now locally that are trying to make something more of their gig?
Oh, I have no idea. I think just play as many shows as you can, and try to have the best sort of like live thing and something that people can hold on to when they leave, something memorable about the show that sticks with people. And yeah, I mean, hopefully, I think it all ultimately still comes down to like the music, right? Like, like if Elton John like wrote crap songs, he wouldn't have been Elton John, right? He wouldn't have become famous. Like he just wrote awesome songs. You just can't deny that he wrote awesome songs. So it's kind of like, that's like, well, what advice do I give? Well, like, write awesome songs, like like really put in the effort in that creative phase, and like really do something special that's gonna like move people or give something for people like to dive into.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's definitely, it's easy for people to say, well, I want to be in a band, but then it's another thing to put in the work and actually convert those people into fans. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been that thing for me too, where sometimes you're like, oh man, how did this band come up with this song? Like how did they write that? Like, what was their inspiration for writing something like that I think is awesome? And it's like, you come to find out after years and years, you're like, oh, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of refining. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of like starting over from scratch, and like just abandoning certain ideas and like forging on to like new territories, and like, it's a lot of effort, I mean, I at this point in my life, I'm a full-time musician. Every day I'm working on music. It's an every day, many hours a day kind of thing,
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, pro athletes, they train on the off season for the football games or for the basketball games, just like you guys have to train, for the time on stage. I can only imagine. Kudos to you guys. Other than music and touring, all that good stuff, what are you up to these days?
Oh, I'm just working on music and touring.
Pretty much, you're just doing everything else. It's consuming your life. So do you still have the Moat House?
Yeah, I live at the Moat House. The Moat House is like my house in Gainesville. It's like a recording studio.
That's awesome.
I'm here right now, actually.
Very cool. So do you guys record anything actively right now there?
Well, I have things that kind of come in and out here and there. Sometimes I do records in other places too. Right now I'm just kind of gearing up for the new Less Than Jake record that we're going to be recording in November. And so I'm just kind of in the mode of working on those songs and like kind of prepping for that session. But yeah, I do stuff here and there, local bands. Sometimes bands will send me stuff to mix. I recorded the Suicide Machines earlier this year, and that record should come out next year. It was awesome. There's a band called Mass Intruder that I've done some stuff with, and they're out there touring around, and they're great. And yeah, I just kind of like, just kind of go with the flow. Sometimes it's local bands, sometimes it's bands that I may have met on tour, and try to do a record together and work together. And it's a cool spot. It's very sort of like free and creative, and it feels good. It's like, it's not like a no pressure kind of thing. A lot of these recording studios to me are like kind of sterile, and there's no windows, and you're just like in like a big cubicle or something. So it just feels like a house. Let's make some jams together,
That's awesome. So before I let you go, I know you obviously just dropped the big news that you guys are recording in November. What do you guys have in store for 2020? Not
too much is out of the bag quite yet. I think they're kind of leaving some things under covers for a bit. We are going down to do a show in Mexico and a show in Costa Rica early in the year. And I think we're looking to team up with some bands. I think we might be teaming up with Lagwagon to do some touring. And, honestly, things are just kind of starting to fall into place right now as far as how crazy it's going to be next year and where we're going to be playing.
That's awesome. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for all those announcements coming up for you guys in 2020. And Roger, I really appreciate you taking the time today to talk about all this cool stuff that you shared with us.
Hey, no worries. I know it's fun to talk about stuff. It's a crazy journey to be in a band for so long, and people care. And it's like, oh, okay, well, if I can talk and some people can discover something new that maybe they didn't know before, I'm down. So thank you for taking the time and giving a shit.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Teaser Talk.
We look forward to seeing you next Teaser Talk Tuesday. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Teaser Talk. This way we can keep up with you guys until the next episode.